Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today I'm very happy man right now because this X Factor is the bomb. I absolutely loved this run by Peter David. Absolutely brilliant, phenomenal. So I'm so glad it is finally happened because as a fan of this whole entire, and I like the run from beginning to end. I almost felt like it wasn't going to happen. I guess a little gripe from me is this is all about Peter David and his storytelling on X Factor, which is fine, but I still feel in the back of my mind I would have preferred them to just have X Factor Volume 1 and they would have started with that original X-Men run. Then they do Peter David's X Factor run with Havoc in the team, and then they would have done that in between that bit and then this bit. So that I'm not sure if there was enough material for an omnibus in between. But I just, for me personally, it bugs me that we've not got like an entire X Factor run, if that makes sense. But I'm happy anyway because I'm gonna get the run that I love. So this is the direct market cover, and this team comprises of Multiple Man, Layla Miller, Rictor, Strong Guy, Monette, Siryn, Wolfsbane, and you've got Quicksilver's not part of the team, but he plays a big part in these early days as well. So on the side, what do we got? We got this beautiful omnibus bit up here, lovely blue X Factor there, and in the X it's got like multiple, so it's like multiple man's X Factor, so to speak. Let me just take this off so I can give you a little closer look there. And then this is I think this was one of the covers, and I'm trying to think, and they're just, in fact, were the girls fighting over Multiple Man? I can't remember, but anyway, less said about that bit, the better. And then on the back we got this beautiful red cover. So what does this collect? So this collects Madrox 1 to 5 X Factor, which is sort of like a solo story. It doesn't have the entire main cast in it. It has a few of them. And if I remember correctly, this is where Jamie is creating a detective agency, essentially. Then it goes into the actual X Factor, the core series. And this core series takes place after House of M. So it's the decimation period. And this collects 1 to 39. And then the one shot, The Quick and the Dead. And I'm very happy that this has X Factor Special Layla Miller and She-Hulk 31. So the She-Hulk issue is a crossover during Secret Invasion. Just so you're aware. And we'll have hopefully see that as I look through the pages. So what does this have? So this has 46 issues, if I counted correctly. I may not have counted correctly. So let's take this off. And then we have under here, we have the creators. And under here we have this because they get stranded. I can't remember where they get stranded. And then it's got Expect the Unexpected. And this really was an unexpected series. And I can't remember how I feel like I stumbled on this by, was it by accident? I was probably aware of it in graphic novel form, but I think when Messiah Complex happened and there was a crossover in that, I feel like that was probably the moment that I really sort of started reading X Factor. I started getting individual comics and then obviously graphic novels back there. And when I decided to move from trade paperbacks to omnibuses or oversized hardcovers, I struggled to, I kept that run of X Factor for a very long time, and it was only later on that I eventually sold it in, and my hope was always that this was going to happen. So I'm very, like I said, very happy man right now having to have this. Now I'm not going to pretend to remember everything that happens during this run, especially not the mini-series, because it's been a very, very long time since I've read it. And even afterwards, there are some great moments throughout. There is, what's it, Tripe Core. Rictor's struggling because he's not got any powers. Siryn goes through some stuff related to her father, Banshee. Layla Miller is an anomaly and she knows stuff. And it's just, it's a great cast. And you can get a feel for the art. I know this art isn't everybody's cup of tea. I really liked it. It feels a bit like what's the word, darker, like that Noir sort of look. And I actually really liked it personally. Obviously artists, I think they probably changed a few times throughout the book, but there's just some great moments with Quicksilver as well. The Civil War registration is showcased in one issue, and there's a showdown with the X-Men as well, who knew about the House of M and they didn't tell him. In fact, this is the moment in a minute where Siryn uses her sonics to get that information out. So this is that key issue, and it's great. And they actually stand against the Civil War rather than stand unique. There's a little not love triumph between Monette and Siryn, and a tragic ending particular to that relationship as well between Teresa and Jamie, which is absolutely awful, but only happens in this book, which is brilliant. And if I remember rightly, there is another cancelling session with Leonard Sampson and the team, and he did that firstly with the original X-Factor as well, and it was great. And then there was this bit about after decimation becoming an endangered species, going and saying that they are an endangered species so that they're no longer sort of hunted, I guess. And that is sort of the first arc, final arc that leads into Messiah Complex. And I'm glad that they've got those issues in here as well. You could easily, because that Messiah Complex hardcover has probably been out of print for a long time. So I'm glad that's in here as well. So you can read it, and you can probably read it without necessarily worrying about it, because it's still about those characters, etc. Strong Guy gets some decent stuff. And then we end up, if I remember rightly, oh, there's some great stuff with Quicksilver. And this sort of ends. He's part in this X-Factor world. He caused a lot of trouble after M-Day with the Terrigen Mists. And obviously he has his own decimation story. And then it sort of finishes, if I'm correct, with this Secret Invasion crossover with She-Hulk, where we get some new cast members in terms of Longshot and Darwin, which is brilliant. It's just a great, it's absolutely fabulous run. If you haven't read it, you don't need volume 1 to read this. You seriously don't, but I recommend that you do. And this is the bit that ends in tragedy for Teresa and Jamie. I won't say anything more than that in case you haven't read it, because I do not want to spoil it. There is that, so it's X-Factor 13, which is that issue with Leonard, which I did want to show you, obviously. Madrox 5 Afterward by Andy. I'm certainly interested in reading that. Some sketches. And then this beautiful. I'm surprised this isn't actually the inner cover, actually. I'm really surprised at that. I do have the standard, actually, on pre-order as well, because, like I said, X-Factor was a big thing for me, a big series that I enjoyed. So I definitely wanted to read that. So let's have a look at this with volume 1. Okay, so here is the cover for X-Factor, volume 1 by Peter David. So you can see pretty much a complete different team. Now, obviously, Wolfsbane and Multiple Man, Strong Guy managed to move into the new one, and Quicksilver hovers around for a long time. Polaris, and trying once again not to give too away, Polaris and Havoc do fall back into this world at some point, which I mean, I'll talk about that more when I get Volume 3. Yes, Volume 3 is going to happen in 2023. It's already been announced by Near Mint Condition. Definitely check out his stuff. He's usually gets to announce the new Omnibus. So definitely a channel to keep your eye on for news, which is great. So very happy that Volume 3 is going to happen next year. And then what they will end up doing is they will end up going back to normal numbers. So which really bugs me, because this run was unique. So they could have just kept it as it was, because it didn't have to be necessarily associated with this, other than it is the same brilliant writer. And then on the side you can see the difference in terms of the X-Factor signs, which is actually doesn't bother me, because this X-Factor was classic X-Factor. This was, I say modern X-Factor, why it was 2005. That's actually a very long time ago, but they sit very nice together, which makes me very, very happy. And then, like I said, this runs all the way up to 92. So, yeah, I'm not going to try and work that out. But anyway, there is potentially an X-Factor Omnibus by somebody else in between these two. So this is the irritating part of me. But if you're only interested in Peter David, you love his work, then this works as well. This certainly does. I mean, this could have been its own run, so to speak. But hey, they're by the same writer. So there we go. So once again, I'm very, 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 very happy to have these two. It's made my absolute day to have this. And it was a surprise when you have Day from Forbidden Planet where I got charged. That's usually where I pre-order my omnibuses from these days. They're the same price as Amazon. Sometimes Amazon is actually more expensive, and that's where I used to go before I realized, you know what, I'm spending more time sending returns. But even so, even with the good packaging, for the Forbidden Planet, sometimes I still sometimes get damaged. This was not wrapped, it was in a box, and it's bounced around, and I actually thought that I got away with it, but I've noticed as I was putting it back together, there is some damage there, which means I've now got to go in, arrange to send it back, which is irritating. So anyway, I still think that they're still my place to go. I don't know where else to go, to be honest with you. If you've got any ideas in the UK, do let me know. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Make sure you look after yourself, very important these days. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe if you like my stuff. I really appreciate it. And thank you to those that are already subscribed. I appreciate you folks. And embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.